Hi, and welcome to CryptoBiography. I'm your host, Brandon Starr, and this is episode 96, The Last Zombie Hunter, Part 5. Hope you're enjoying it. It started with episode 92, and if you have any comments or questions about this episode or previous episodes, cryptobiography@gmail.com, or hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. And here we go. We settled into an uneasy routine. About twice a week, I would go on a water run. We had food for a few weeks, but I wanted to start looking for more. Meanwhile, we worked on the water barrels, one for each porch, and a way to force the gutters to bring the water to the barrels, plus a way to block up the regular downspouts. The water would be pretty potable even without even adding bleach, or that was the plan. I'm not sure how much junk and crud would get washed down off the roof before the water would be mostly clean. Either way, we would continue to bleach for safety. But the water would mean large amounts to wash with and flush the toilet with. When we started working on the roof and on the porches, we had to wait out some pretty nasty zombie parties. The noise of our work brought attention. The zombies below would start moaning and bring more friends. Our rule was no more than 5. As soon as there was 5, we didn't want to bring any more or rile them up. The odds of, say, a fire were nearly 0. I'd known the gas was at 0 pressure, and with no electricity, that took that problem out. The real danger was mobs. If a mob attacked the house, they might, in time, break through into the shop, and from there they might pull down the barrier I built blocking the stairs. That would mean the end of our little fort, and probably our lives. 5, I hear Mackenzie call up from the big front deck. Thanks, I say. I stop what I'm working on. Put the tools in a place where they will fall onto the porch, even if they somehow slide off the roof, and then climb down the stepladder we put on the deck. All on this side, she says more quietly. I nod. She goes inside, and I work on my special distractor. I've had it for some time, way before Mackenzie showed up. But I only used it a couple of times before we started working outside. Now I use it every day. It's basically a clothesline strung out to the copse of trees behind my house. The line disappears into them. I have a reasonably realistic dummy which dangles from it. As the line is about 15 feet off the ground and the dummy is about 4 feet long, it hangs above where the zombies can reach, or even jump. They aren't good jumpers. First, though, I prep the dummy by setting it on the corner of the deck and double-check to make sure it is still well secured to the line. It is. I look down, and there are 7 dead eyes down there, so a couple more friends have come to the party. This part takes patience. I sit down very still for a while until the zombies have forgotten about me, or at least aren't moaning so loudly. Then I slowly reach up above me to the clothesline. There's a little corner of the house where it connects, and it gives me a bit of cover. I don't think the zombies have line of sight to my arm. I start to tug on the line. The dummy jerks and moves, and the zombies moan louder. They see it. Perfect. I tug a bit more, and the dummy seems to be leaning forward, as though it were going to do a big loving dive into the zombies' arms. They moan louder, appreciatively. They are always hungry. I tug a bit more, and the dummy slips off the rail and dances in midair. The moans become louder, almost ecstatic. This is like porn for them. I know now that their eyes will be on the dummy, so I slide my other arm up too and start to slowly move the dummy out along the line. I have a bit of a view as the dummy makes its way along, and I see the zombies below the dummy clamoring and reaching up towards it, but even the tallest of them are reaching a good 3 feet below its dangling tootsies, and the few who try a jump aren't good for more than a foot or so of height. Soon enough, the dummy goes into the trees, and even I mostly lose sight of it, though I have a better view than the zombies. The dummy stops inside a tree, more or less. I had stuck it to a branch that has other branches going out other ways, so that from the ground, the dummy is almost invisible. This is the trick. Give them something to chase, then hide it away from them. Eventually, they give up, and their memory isn't good. As long as we don't give them a reason to come back towards my house, they won't. Instead, they'll wander away. All this takes a lot of time, not least because even once the dummy is in the trees, I am still outside on my porch, and I don't want to draw any attention to me. So I wait for hours until the sun goes down, and I'm quite sure no zombies are making their way back towards me. I leave the dummy there. No sense bringing it back with zombies following it all the way. We will do it late tonight, or perhaps tomorrow. So much we don't know, I remarked to Mackenzie when I finally slip inside. There isn't a zombie around the house now, which I confirm by doing quiet spying out of every window. About them? Mackenzie asks. I nod. Yeah. How about we get a little scientific, I suggest. Okay, what do you recommend? First, let's tell each other the stories we know about them. Try to see what we can determine about what they are exactly and their capabilities. Then maybe we can figure out an experiment we can do to learn more. Right now I feel like we don't know much of anything. We don't even know what we don't know. Mackenzie nodded. I guess I'm thinking we should try to figure out what kind of zombies they are. Like, for instance, I haven't seen any zombies that are basically skeletons. Have you? No, Mackenzie answered. But I've seen them horribly injured and carrying on as though nothing was wrong. So they may just not feel pain, I suggest. Sure, but do they have bodily processes like ours? Do they need to drink water? Or do they just eat? Not sure. It's a good question. You'd think we would have seen them drinking if they needed to. I've made a lot of water runs, and I haven't seen herds of zombies getting water from the river. How do they live then? That's the question, isn't it? I asked. You've seen them rise, haven't you? She asked. Yeah, some of them were pretty torn up. Mackenzie nods. So are they all the same zombies? I'm sorry? I asked. I can't remember seeing the same zombies again. I see. Are you suggesting they travel? Migrate? Maybe, she shrugs. Or maybe they die off and are just being replaced all the time. Well, we'll run out of humans very soon if that's the case. Yeah. I definitely want to know how long they live just eating meat, I say. Also, we really need to know how they transmit this, disease, maybe? Have you seen anyone rise who only got a minor cut? Or maybe some fluid in their mouth or something? She asked. No, but I haven't seen anyone fight them and get away clean except myself, I said. And I didn't really fight them for the most part. Knocked them down and kept running, more like. Same, she said. Though I did shoot a couple early on when I had to. Did they bleed? She asked. Yeah, that blackish stuff. Barely red anymore. A bit thicker than blood. Maybe their bodies have adapted to that, whatever it is. She nodded. So we can't rule out that we might change or get sick and die if we came in contact with their fluids. We can't rule that out, no. What if we die in our sleep? Would we rise as one of them? Is it something in the air, some spore that has affected everyone, then makes us rise when we would die? I guess we can't rule that out either. So what can we rule out? I'm not taking any chances with that black blood of theirs. I consider this problem. How about we go forestry service on them? What do you mean? Well, you said you can't remember if they're the same ones, or at least you haven't seen the same one twice. But, they're dirty, and when we're lucky, we're seeing them from a distance. There's a store that catered to the paintball crowd a couple blocks over. We could tag them, then keep an eye out for them, maybe even take notes. Mackenzie nodded. And their vision is often so-so, I think. If we shot from a distance, they might not even figure out where they're being shot from. They may not even feel when they're being shot, if they can break a leg and act as though everything was fine. Or they end up being able to tell, we pull a huge group to us, and eventually are eaten. That would be suboptimal, I admit. We can be careful. I'm in, she said, holding her hand out like a volleyball player at the end of a match, palm down. I put my hand over hers. Go Team Human, I half shout. She laughs. It's probably the first real laugh I've heard her give. I forgot how nice it is to hear laughter, I said. I miss it, now that I hear it. She stopped laughing. You know what I miss most? Stability. Just having a normal day, right? The whole world must be PTSD now. I nodded along. You know what I miss? Ice cream, I said. She laughed again. Really? Anything cold and sweet. Me too, she said. Though we won't miss cold things when winter hits. A lot can happen between now and then, I said. She nods. And that's the end of the show for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll keep writing, and we'll do part 6 next weekend. If you have any comments or questions about this episode or previous episodes, like I say, cryptobiography@gmail.com, or hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. And thanks for listening. Words and music, copyright 2019, CryptoBiography LLC, all rights reserved. Characters and events are fictional, fictionalized, or satirical.